From constantly trying to provoke the Irishman with his antics, to the notorious predicting Nate will win against the problem child. Here's why Jake Paul may be using this Nate Diaz fight to get Conor McGregor's attention. I think it's safe to say that Jake Paul's determination to fight McGregor's kinda obsessive, and his newest plan to make it happen is a little concerning. Paul's convinced that if he can manage to kick Diaz's butt on August 5th, Conor will definitely notice. But if that's Paul's plan of action, he needs a victory for the ages. If you ask me, a knockout might just do the job. And looking at the way Paul's been crushing it in the boxing ring lately, fans think he can do it. I mean, it's no joke for a YouTuber to knock literal MMA legends and have a 6-1 record. But get this, for the past 3 years, Jake's been constantly begging Conor McGregor for a crossover fight. The two have even had their fair share of disses on Twitter. Spoiler alert. Conor won most of them, but recently he's been playing it cool. He's not even mentioning Jake's name while talking about his upcoming fight with Diaz. The Irishman's 100% rooting for Nate, which, by the way, is the first time I've heard any pro say so. Most of the fighters and analysts, even the betting odds, have declared Jake as the favorite. And that may be why Mr. Everyday Bro's still feeling super confident. He believes that if he totally crushes Diaz, not only will he get that fight he's been after, but McGregor won't be able to ignore him anymore. Our man's so confident that he's going to win the match. He's making all kinds of statements left and right. In fact, recently during an interview, Paul talked about how when McGregor finally sees him knock out Diaz, he won't be able to resist a payday and would definitely want to fight Paul. I mean, let's not fool anyone, Jakey. It's Conor who's going to be bringing that money in, not you. That is if he even gives the YouTuber a chance. And it's pretty clear that Jake's always wanted to fight Conor. So much so, he's been going around telling everyone that he'd be up for any kind of match, be it MMA or boxing. Because according to Paul, wrestling is his thing, and he's got the background for it. So all he needs to pick up is a bit of jiu-jitsu and some kicks. The rest, he thinks, will be a piece of cake. But whether that's true or not, one thing's for sure. If this fight does go through, not only will Paul get to fulfill his long-lasting dream, but it'll be kind of a fresh start for the Irishman as well. Because look at it this way, everyone knows Conor's been juicing, so making weight for a Jake fight shouldn't be an issue. After all, he's been trying to get his hands on welterweight. Plus, with his USADA drama, the Irishman could use a comeback like this. But the big question still remains. What are the chances the problem child will actually take down Diaz? UFC welterweight Randy Brown thinks lots of fans are dissing Jake Paul's skills just because he started out as a YouTuber. But he's not buying into that. He's totally convinced that Diaz will be an easy win for Paul. Brown called it a walk-in, walk-out situation in Jake's favor, because whether you agree or not, Jake's a full-time boxer. He may not be a great one, but he does spend most of his time training. And you can't go wrong with hard work, now can you? Brown also thinks that Paul definitely deserves credit for all the effort he puts in. But on the other hand, Diaz has a reputation for his boxing and jiu-jitsu in the UFC, especially in that first fight, where he outlanded Conor McGregor before choking him out. But Randy's not convinced Diaz's MMA skills will carry over to the boxing ring, just like what happened with Conor when he fought Mayweather. Sure, Jake's not Floyd, but you get the idea. Same as Francis Ngannou stepping in the ring with Fury. It never ends well for the UFC guy. But still, Diaz has a knack for boxing. Like those sneaky drop punches when he keeps his hands high, his lunge and slap technique, that might just work in his favor. But if you ask Brown, the chances of that are slim, especially after Nate released a video of himself hitting the pads in preparation for his fight against Paul. And let's just say the fans are not impressed with his form. That aside though, not everyone is giving up hope. Andre Ward thinks Nate can give Jake a fight tougher than he thinks. If there's anyone who understands Diaz's boxing style, it's Andre. The 32-0 retired boxing champ and Diaz have actually sparred together in the past. So, with Diaz getting ready to go against Jake Paul, Ward wants fans to stop judging Diaz based on some pad-hitting video. Because to Ward, those shots may not look all flashy, but they're relentless, coming at you from all angles. Let's be real here. Diaz has been in the game for a long time, almost 2 decades now, and you can't underestimate that experience. Plus, Diaz needs to prove he can handle Paul's punches, especially that natural right hand of his, which is always the reason his opponents end up taking a nap. If Diaz can take those hits, which he definitely can, It's gonna be a much tougher fight than people think. Cause you know what? Nate won't back down, he's gonna keep on coming at Paul. So, it's all about how Diaz handles those shots. But you know how this time Jake's resorting to a sane way of getting Conor's attention? That wasn't always the case. Back in 2020, Paul broke all the rules and even got personal while trying to get the Notorious's attention, as he went all out, calling him names and taunting him in a video he uploaded. He claimed his team sent Conor a massive $50 million offer for a fight. But McGregor's supposedly scared to face him and declined the offer. And it got even more personal when he insulted Conor's fiancée, while also bringing up past controversies. Yikes! Then he went after UFC president Dana White, calling him some nasty names too. Now Jake's tactics are dirty, but he sure knows how to sell it, and he's been pushing for this fight the same way. But that's not it. He even pulled a desperate plane stunt, just to get McGregor to sign the contract. So get this. After his video went without any notice, Jake ordered a Conor McGregor sandwich, challenging the Irishman to a bout, implying that he would be a chicken if he didn't agree. Classic Jake, right? But he wasn't done here. In 2021, Jake actually hired a plane to fly over Miami Beach with a message for Conor. The banner said Conor McGregor is scared of Jake Paul. Plain and simple. But is Conor McGregor actually scared of Jake Paul? The only thing Conor's scared of are drug tests. Other than that, he thinks Paul's nothing but a jack. No, literally, that's one of the few times Conor has ever clapped back at Jake. Back in 2022, when Conor was juicing up in the process of still recovering from his broken leg, he posted a video of him hitting some pads. And that was when Jake tried to provoke him, stating that the Notorious lacks head movement, which leaves his chin wide open. When ESPN's Ringside Twitter handle tweeted at Conor, talking about how Paul wasn't impressed. Paul's criticism was made fun of by the Irishman, who posted a video laughing and calling Paul a jack. But you know what? Trash talk and drama sell fights, and both Conor and Jake know how to play that game well. So yeah, the Irishman isn't scared. I mean, he's been in the game for ages, facing some of the toughest opponents out there. And Jake, he's still only 7 fights in all of his career, and that honestly shouldn't even scare Nate Diaz. Like Dana once said, Conor wasn't the golden boy because he was too good. He was that guy, because he never hesitates to take anyone on. Whether they'll actually ever step into the ring together, that's a whole different story. But for now, Conor seems pretty chill about the whole thing. He's got bigger fish to fry, you know? But one thing's certain, McGregor doesn't like Paul. So much so that while predicting the Paul-Diaz match, he said that he's looking forward to watching Nate slap the head off of Jake, wiping the floor with him after he wins. So from the Notorious predicting that Nate will win against the problem child, to Paul constantly trying to provoke the Irishman. That is why Jake Paul may be using this Nate Diaz fight to get Conor McGregor's attention.